George, the fight back starts here.
Yes, started.
It started in Rochdale. Can you tell us a bit about what's going on with this possible by-election?
Well, we have submitted a file to the Greater Manchester Police alleging electoral fraud in its broadest sense. It has multiple components, ranging from the huge to the relatively minor, but taken together, they make an undeniable case for a new election. The people of Rochdale have been cheated. The law has been broken on multiple levels. The one that will be of most interest to your audience is the intervention of the misnamed Hope Not Hate campaign, which has broken the law, again, on multiple levels, on everything from election expenditure. £700 spending limit was busted by 10, 20 times or more, and the defamation therein. For example, they described me as being on the payroll of the Iranian state. This is a clear defamation. It's false, it's damaging, and therefore defamatory. And Phil Willis had to demit office in Oldham West for just that kind of defamatory lie. But the exact details of our petition to the court, I can't talk about until the court has published it. But it's a very serious case, and it will be, I believe, successful.
I mean, there's other appeals to the Metropolitan Police from other seats. I mean, Jonathan Ashworth is trying to suggest that something went wrong in Leicester South.
Yeah.
We've also heard a couple of other MPs complaining about intimidation during the election.
Yeah.
What do you think about those
Well,
cases?
what they normally mean is that their electorate spoke back to them and told them what they thought of them. That's what New Labour considers to be intimidation. They prefer a compliant, obsequious electorate that will do exactly what the MP and the government tell them to do. But people are not like that anymore. In this era of social media, people are highly aroused in their detestation of the role being played by Britain and by Labour, then in opposition, now even more in government. So I don't know anything about these other complaints, but I make this point. I'm sure that the police and the courts will not treat my petition any differently to how they're going to treat anybody else's complaints and anybody else's petition. So you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
I mean, the thing about this election is it was such a short campaign and called very early in a very kind of suspicious way to me, because it didn't make sense that Rishi Sunak would do that. He was bound to lose. So I can't really understand that. But there's some disappointment that no seats were won by the Workers' Party. But obviously there's a good vote of over 200,000. So
yeah, 210,000, and if you count in the independents with which we were most closely associated, who used my image on their election material and so on, the figure is just touching 250,000. For a party that was blacked out of the national media, that was never once included in an opinion poll, was treated as if it wasn't there. 250,000 votes is a very, very good base. We came very close, particularly in Birmingham, Yardley, where Jodie McIntyre came within 800 votes of being the Workers' Party MP there. James Giles, my former Chief of Staff, came within 1,500 votes of defeating Liam Byrne, former Chief Secretary to the Treasury. In Bradford West, our candidate came within 500 votes. He was an independent, but very closely associated with us. So there were a lot of nearlies, but there were 5 great victories for what they're calling pro-Gaza independence. There could easily have been 5, 10, 15 more. But yes, it was a very peculiar general election. And I think there's a lot of unemployed Tory MPs asking the very question you are implicitly asking. Why did Rishi Sunak go so soon?
Now, Jeremy Corbyn's written an article in The Guardian in which he says that this isn't the time to set up a political party. We need to have a grassroots movement, which is a bit vague to me. And I'm disappointed that he hasn't seen the urgency of forming a party, because the mobilisation of people in this last election was fantastic. If there were more time, we would win lots of seats, wouldn't we, on the left? What do you think about Jeremy Corbyn's response to what's happened? And it doesn't seem like you're talking about a fight back now. He's talking about maybe a fight back in maybe a year or maybe more. I don't know. It's just.
Well, I don't know. I never know, because Mr. Corbyn keeps his cards close to his chest. But he called me on the Saturday after the election. We had a long talk. I told him my view and that I was going to announce it again publicly. 3 times I've announced it now. That there should be a Mellenchon-style new popular front of all the socialist parties and mass movements. The Stop the War, the CND, all the mass movement organizations, local community organizations, they should all be under the umbrella, led by him, with him as Mellenchon. I reiterate it again tonight, but I'm getting a bit tired doing so. Meanwhile, we can't wait. We can't wait for Jeremy's grassroots building that he talked about in the Guardian article. We have a party and we are building it, and it's going from strength to strength. It's 4 times the size it was before the victory in Rochdale in February. So it's massively increased in size and in influence. We've got 210,000 explicit votes under our belt, another 40,000 more from closely affiliated independents, 250,000 people in Britain. We're very strong in some places, less strong in others, but we have a party building project. And we're happy to join a wider front, but we will not give up our own individual identity. We have political differences with others on the left, as you know. And we are very clear about how we see politics. And we're ready to work with others with whom we disagree. This popular front will need to stretch from Owen Jones to I don't know where, but it'll need to be a broad stretch if it's going to be a viable alternative to Labour in by-elections and general election to come. Actuarially speaking, there will be 4 by-elections a year for the next 5 years. So that's 20 contests. Some of them will be in areas not propitious, but some of them might be in areas very propitious indeed.
No, I need to ask you something else, which is the smears that we've had about you since your Novara Media interview have intensified, and people are focusing on you, George Galloway's opinion on something that's not as relevant as the Gaza war, and making this some kind of the undoing of you and the Workers' Party, or we can't vote for the Workers' Party because of what George Galloway said in an interview with Novara Media, who has made other comments. What do you think about this kind of personalising the Workers' Party as all about you, but also this kind of no platforming of you for your opinions on issues that are not central to a left wing agenda?
Well, it's a kind of narcissism of the small difference, because if you look at my voting record in Parliament on the issues you're talking about, you will find no difference between my voting record and Jeremy Corbyn's. None at all, as it happens. So it's a small difference that has been deliberately magnified in what was a rigged interview with Novara Media, which I'm increasingly convinced is an establishment cutout. It's an establishment front. I'll always believe that, and I, of course, regret the fact that they rigged the interview with me. I should never have done it. I was persuaded against my better judgment to do it. And I'll never forgive the man who persuaded me to do it. But I have to take responsibility for what I said, and what I said happens to be the view of tens of millions of people in this country. Look, I'm a man of my age and class. I believe in country, in family, in God. That conditions everything I say, everything I think. Now, if you don't want to vote for me because of that, that's fine. I don't hold other people, even in my own party, to my own personal views. But we stand where we stand, and we're ready to ally with people. I mentioned Owen Jones earlier. It would take me all night to tell you how many things I disagree with Owen Jones about, but I'm still ready to follow Jeremy Corbyn's Popular Front, in which I hope he would be a part. So if you disagree with my emphasis on issues that are by no means as central to domestic and world events as the ones we ought to be uniting over, I regret that, but by all means vote for someone else, although you'll need to wait for Jeremy to form it before you will have a chance to do that. That is the long and the short of it.